is telling us, seek my face. What does that mean? That means that prayer is not something that actually starts with me. Like when you say like, oh gosh, man, like I attended this conference and it was really good and I really feel like I need to pray more. So I need to pull up my bootstraps and I got to do this, right? Scripture is telling us that prayer doesn't actually start with you. It actually starts with God inviting me and inviting you to go and to pray. It starts with me hearing God calling me. We believe grace, in our Orthodox theology, we believe that grace is a three-part thing. God invites or God initiates, we respond, and our response is always kind of half-hearted. It's always impoverished. It's always like, nah, kind of pathetic compared to the invitation, So God completes our response. He perfects that which concerns me, Psalm 138. He perfects my response back. It's kind of a three-part thing, but it begins with God and it ends with God. But there's a necessary thing in there, which is I have to respond. Prayer is grace. What's grace? Grace is a free gift from God. Prayer is not something on my to-do list. It's not something that I've got to do today. It's a gift from God. God has given me a gift. I don't know what's a like a really fantastic sporting event. I don't know, the Super Bowl or the NBA finals or right, and a friend of yours from high school you haven't talked to for 400 years calls you up and says, none of you were in high school 400 years ago, but you know what I mean, right? Nor was I, right? But you know what I mean, right? Somebody you haven't talked to in so long calls you up and says, hey, I have 4 tickets to this thing. I invited a friend. Why don't you invite a friend and come? And you're like, what? You're like, I want to see the ticket before I book my flight. I want to hold it in my hand. Right? It's too good to be true, right? Prayer is an invitation from God for Him to accompany us into His kingdom, which happens to be within us. It's not something I have to do. It's something He is inviting me to accompany Him in doing.